Hi everybody, it's Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au bringing you my regular weekly feature at this time, the war on misinformation. Now, some of you will be familiar with the iconic British sitcom Yes Minister. In a famous episode of Yes Minister, the quintessential public servant Sir Humphrey Appleby explains what you do as a government and an institution of government when you want to give the impression of doing something about an important issue while changing nothing. And what you do essentially, according to Sir Humphrey Appleby, is that you bring on a Royal Commission of Inquiry, which takes a long time and affords lots of opportunities for publicity. And at the end of it, you find a scapegoat and hit them and blame them for most of the problems in the system while effectively changing nothing. Now that seems to be what's happened with the recently concluded Banking Royal Commission conducted by Kenneth Hayne. We have a situation where the release of the final report has resulted in soaring share prices for banks because the market has viewed that the banks are getting off very likely. Meanwhile, the scapegoat that seems to be targeted most by Commissioner Kenneth Hayne is small business, mortgage brokers. The changes that he's recommending will decimate that particular sector of small business. It will put a lot of mortgage brokers out of work. About 70,000 people, it's estimated, will lose their jobs. Consumers who rely on mortgage brokers will be disadvantaged because they won't be able to afford to pay a fee up front for that service. And the big benefit goes to the major banks, who will have greater control of the mortgage market and will be more profitable. It'll be easier for them to make their multi-billion-dollar annual profits as a result of this change if it's implemented. This is not what the Banking Royal Commission was supposed to be about. Why this major targeting of small business to the benefit of the major banks is beyond me. There's been quite a sharp reaction, not only from the mortgage broking industry, understandably, but also from consumers who stand to be disadvantaged. I don't know how the ordinary mum and dad consumers can make their way through the maze of the loans industry, the number of different lenders, the number of different products, the different interest rate deals that are out there changing daily. The average consumer has no chance of understanding and getting the best deal without the help of a mortgage broker. The current system, I believe, works. It certainly worked well for me. I use a Melbourne-based mortgage broker called Louise Lucas of the Property Education Company. I've always had great service. I've always got great results, better outcomes in terms of the interest rate deal that I'm paying. And I know a lot of Australians have had similar outcomes. Louise has recently written a letter to the editor of The Australian, in which she says the Banking Royal Commission had to find someone to ruin to appear that action had been taken, and the Commissioner has found a good target in the thousands of small businesses who are mortgage brokers, who, apart from a couple, do not have listed entities with shareholders and not members of unions. All hail Hayne for saving the big end of town once again. I agree, Louise. A mortgage broker called Justin Dubov, Managing Director of Intelligent Finance, was quoted this week in the Australian newspaper saying that brokers had been made the scapegoat of the Royal Commission and that consumers will pay the ultimate cost. He says that the banks won't have any competition. Mortgage brokers were made the sacrificial lamb of the Royal Commission, and the banks are actively lying about how mortgage brokers worked. He says the bank CEOs have played the Royal Commission like a fiddle. The banks have used all their political bandwidth and PR machine and have been like a puppeteer pulling the strings. I tend to agree. It was supposed to be clamping down on the excesses of the banks, but it seems that the big banks are the ones who are going to benefit, hence the major rise in their share price this week as a result of the release of the report by Commissioner Kenneth Haynes. Meanwhile, the banks have been, through their CEOs, have been conducting interviews where it's very clear from the comments they're making there's nothing has changed in their culture and their attitudes. We've seen the CEO of Westpac recently interviewed by major media, and just in the last day or so, the chief executive of the Commonwealth Bank, Matt Comyn, where he's in denial in terms of the difficulty that ordinary consumers are now having getting finance, denying that banks are making it harder to borrow money. He's got to be kidding. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that the banks, in overreaction to the Royal Commission, have clamped down on their criteria for processing loans. It's become a lot harder and taking a lot longer for people to get loans. I'm not saying people can't get loans anymore, but certainly it's really making it a lot harder for ordinary people to get the loans they need to buy real estate and other things. I've experienced it myself. Matt Common, the CEO of Commonwealth Bank, in this interview also reiterated his support for wiping out the commissions paid to mortgage brokers and replacing them with upfront fees paid by consumers directly to the mortgage brokers. Well, of course he would. The banks benefit from this. They get greater control of the mortgage market and they don't have to pay commissions to mortgage brokers. Banks benefit from this rather odd recommendation. Mortgage brokers, small businesses will be decimated by it, and we, the consumers, are going to be the ultimate losers. So I sincerely hope that whoever is the federal government later this year after the federal election does not implement this particular recommendation. I hope that there's such a strong public backlash that they'll get the message that this is not in the best interests of consumers. I'd be interested to hear what you think, so please post your comments on our Facebook page when you watch and listen to this broadcast. I'll be interested to know what you, the consumers, think about this particular measure. That's it for now. Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au signing off. Let's do it again soon.